The Sounds of ECLAR deep dives into the business worlds of our members and partners.
What is the growth direction of your business? Where's the areas you want to focus on?
We learn about the challenges you've never heard of.
Sometimes work is going to need more of your time. And if you want to be successful, you have to be willing to do that.
The skills and habits that are the backbone of their businesses.
Life comes in seasons, just like the year comes in seasons. Some seasons will be really tough.
And the feedback and advice that set them up for success.
Being able to separate yourself from feedback and know that it's not personal and take it constructively, then you can only ever better the product that you've built.
This is The Sounds of ECLAR. Welcome to The Sounds of ECLAR. It's Maxi here. As always, I'm joined by Loz.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Look, Loz, today we've got the double team. This is our first double team.
I know.
So, two wonderful ladies who left corporate and have set up their own business named Decipher Law. It's a huge welcome to Sarah and Beck.
Hello.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Tell us a bit about that decision to what were you doing beforehand and the decision to leave and go out on your own?
Yeah, sure. So it's about 3 and a bit years ago now that we started Decipher Workplace Law, and we were in the corporate world and we're enjoying it, but we did hit the inevitable ceiling that exists in in-house legal environments and wanted to know what the next kind of challenge for us was going to be. We really enjoy being specialised in our skill set, and in the corporate world, you've got to kind of become more generalist if you want to go up the ladder. And we decided that that's not what we wanted to do. We liked what we did, and we thought, why don't we start a new business and find a new challenge in that? So that's what we did 3.5 years ago, and we really essentially at Decipher Workplace Law help employers, business owners, HR professionals solve challenging people issues, and we really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And that decision, I mean, you two obviously worked very closely together and you obviously enjoy each other's company. So that decision, Beck, was it something that you had to think about for a long time, or was it something, because it's a big step to actually leave and know you got to invest your own money, that paycheck's not coming in every month?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big decision and we did take a long time to make it. I think we thought of it and talked about it, but it was almost a joke for the first year or so.
Yeah.
And we had other things going on in our lives, and I think I just had a baby, and so it was sort of just at the back of our minds for quite a long time. And then eventually there came a point where we just decided to give it a whirl, and we had lots of support around us, and we left the same employer and they were really supportive as well, which was really helpful.
What's one of the challenges that you felt coming from a fully fledged big business to running your own and probably having to take on a lot of hats as well as running a business for your clients? What's been a challenge that has surprised you?
It's a good question. I think one of the challenges early on was cash flow for us. So we were so excited to get into the work, and thankfully we had some work to get started with, but that doesn't translate to money in the bank right away. So that was I found personally quite an uncomfortable position to be in at the start. But we knew we hoped it was going to be temporary, and it was, thankfully, and we're past that now. But I think we were just so excited to do the work, and we had a bit of space at the start, which we used, I think, proactively to kind of set up some precedents and kind of have a bit of a think about how we wanted to operate. But I will say, in all honesty, some of it we've learnt on the fly and we're continuing to develop. But I think now that we are more established, it's been really important for us to take time out of the business in kind of consolidated periods to really work on where do we want to go, where do we want to grow, how do we want to grow, and we're kind of working through that now. We're in this new phase of the business.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you find it hard working in and on the business? Like, how do you share it between the two of you? Does one of you have more of a skill set for that? How do you work that balance?
Yeah, we've sort of just found our niches with that without even talking about it so explicitly. We were both drawn to different aspects. I tend to do more of the finance stuff. Sarah is really great at articulating our values and strategic direction and putting pen to paper on all of that so that we stay the course. So it's just finding time to do that. And as you say, we're now really busy. We've got one employee at the moment who works with us too. And when you're doing work all day long, it's hard to have the discipline to step back and think, where do I want to take this and what do I need to do to get it there? So, we've carved out periods. We've got a few days in May where we've carved out some time to do those types of things, and we do that fairly regularly.
Yeah.
And 5 boys between the two of you as well. So I imagine mum life and wanting to be there, but at the same time knowing we had Toby on, a few episodes ago, and he spoke about sometimes it's just going to need more of your time. The work is, and sometimes you're going to be able to spend more time with the kids and be there, but you're also going to miss out on a lot. So how have you balanced that, and the emotional pull of wanting to be at everything, but understanding that this business is setting you up, but it's also setting a great example for them.
Yeah, and it is. And it's really exciting, I think, that they get to see us being bosses at work, and they like that concept. Although I've been challenged, is Beck my boss? And I'm sure you probably get the same from yours. But it's a great, way to role model, I think, for them in that. But one of our core values at Decipher is flexibility, and we really mean that in every sense of the word. And we've set out kind of first in our values that flexibility in terms of when and how we work. So we really do have the benefit of being able to control our calendars and what we do. And we know that's a real privilege being business owners. So we can, be quite deliberate in terms of how much work we take on. And in terms of that flexibility, it does mean that, we will schedule a lot of meetings during school hours so we can be available to the kids after hours. But then that means some early starts for Beck. She's an early riser, and I work late at night. And occasionally we work on weekends. And we love the sanctuary that eClub provides us, because we will escape from those busy, mum duties to, get some work done if that works for us from a family perspective.
If you're sick of meeting in cafes and public places, an eClub membership could be just for you. eClub members' lounge and meeting rooms offer the perfect alternative, elevating you and your business to greater levels of professionalism. Visit eclub.com to learn more. What about some of the skills or habits, if you reflect on what you've learned over a long time in corporate and now coming into your own business? What are the skills and habits you lean on, or traditions that you've lent on that you think help you now with your new business?
Yeah, probably a few. I think one of the skills, and I will say it's a strong skill that was kind of ingrained into us when we left corporate, was working at pace. And when we started this, we kind of expected everybody else to face the problems they were asking for our assistance with that same pace. And for them, they had 100 other issues they were dealing with. So, understandably, it wasn't kind of top of their mind. But that working at pace, we can often fall back to. And sometimes in our space, because our work can be quite reactive, we need to be able to do that. But other times we do need to be patient. So, we go through that as part of the process. Anything else you'd add to that?
No, I think that's all.
So who brings the energy out of the two of you?
Oh, I reckon it's even.
I think we balance each other really nicely. And, if one of us is feeling a bit flat, I feel like the other one will, help in that regard. And we speak a lot. And we balance each other out, I would say, in that regard. And I mean, when you start a business with someone else, Sarah and I were friends, but we didn't know each other as well as we do now. It's a big risk to start a business with someone. And I think we've realised that as we've gone, and we've heard stories about it not working out for other people. But fortunately, it's worked out really nicely for us.
Yeah, that's good. Feedback. You're always getting feedback from clients or staff that you've worked with in other businesses. What's been some feedback that you've both got individually or as a team that's probably hurt, but has actually shaped you to be a better leader or a better professional?
Well, we were going to share, when we started, we were over-servicing our clients, and I think it was a client, but someone who we also knew sort of personally, who said, you're giving away too much for free. And I think that was really hard, because we're people pleasers, most lawyers are, I think, and wanting to establish a business and do a really good job. But I think that person was right, and you have to be quite clever sometimes and realise that your time is precious and not give more than you need to, or give away too much for free. Anything else?
Yeah, I think there's a shift in thinking. I think coming from that in-house corporate environment, you need to add value with almost every conversation that you have, and that's how we, had been trained, and that was where we were operating at the time. But you need to shift that when you're, of course, in the professional services business, and that's not to undervalue, those important conversations you have with people in the first instance, but also, you need to be able to structure it in a way that you give them everything they need, which might mean, a more commercial approach. So we needed to kind of develop that skill set at the start, which is now we're much, I think, just more confident in terms of setting out, this is what this is probably going to look like, and this is what it might be like from a cost perspective, and just being really transparent from the outset, instead of just solving everything on the spot.
Have you found, coming from bigger corporates, that feedback and challenging and pushing over time was a lot more aggressive and a lot more towards the bottom line, or to solving issues to sort of move on to the next client, and more financial rather than relationship based, and now you've gone the other way? Or do you feel like that's everywhere?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think we've been lucky in terms of a number of our clients have come from our existing network, from that corporate, landscape. So they have enjoyed working with us in the past. They trust us. So they might have moved to perhaps a smaller employer and they don't have that same level of expertise available in-house, and they want to be able to outsource that. And then they thankfully come to us. So we're able to, continue to build on that trust that we had developed over time. But no, we understand the reality sometimes of the commercial world, and particularly now we're noticing more of a cost-conscious kind of focus for some of our clients. You know, we do appreciate things are tough out there, and potentially for the next little bit might be even tougher. So just means we need to add as much value as we can.
Yeah, it's a good point that you're raising where we are economy-wise, and it's a crazy world we're living in. What are you seeing out there? What's the most common things you're seeing in your jobs, and why people are coming to you?
We act for employers only, so usually large organisations and sometimes smaller ones as well. And we're finding that for reactive work, the sort of work that they have to do something about, they are quite willing to come to us. So we do workplace investigations, and if there's a need for a workplace investigation, that work gets progressed. But I think some of the nice to have work, so we also do like training in workplace behaviour and trauma-informed investigations and ethics and all sorts of things. Some of that work I think is on the back burner in the current economic climate, which we completely understand. And then it's interesting the impact that AI might have on some of our work. So, the not simple, because it actually is complex if you do it well, but drafting workplace policies or workplace contracts, we query what the future of that is, and whether people will keep coming to lawyers for that, or whether they might be more willing to give it a go themselves with AI tools. We would say, you shouldn't, but that's the reality I think that we're in, and we have to evolve and consider your service offering in the current climate.
I just saw actually we got something sent from Fair Work about them looking into the use
of
AI and how workplaces and employees use it for investigations and things like that. What's your view on it? Is it something that businesses should really look into? What are your thoughts?
We have so many thoughts.
We have so many thoughts
You go
on this.
first.
It's something definitely to leverage, and I think putting your head in the sand on this is just not a great strategy. There's going to be so many efficiencies that are going to be continually unlocked by AI. But I think it's also, and this is a very lawyer response, but proceed with caution. Particularly I can see where the Fair Work Commission is coming from in relation to they've had a huge uptick in claims that have come through which have been predominantly, if not solely, generated by AI, and they take a very firm view that is not the way. It needs some proper thought and some proper overview of these submissions and claims that are coming through, because it's significantly increasing their workload, and people are relying on what that output is when it's not entirely correct. And I'm not even talking hallucinations. They're just picking up like the wrong sections, and that's wasting time in a very valuable system that needs to be able to be available to help people when they need it. In the investigation space, it's interesting. One of the areas that we don't use AI in, but we know others do, is in getting records of interview, so transcripts, for example. So we audio record in most cases, and then a transcript will be provided by a third-party provider, so someone actually making that record. And I've had parties to investigations who are very clear they don't want an AI-generated transcript. They want somebody to do that because they've had issues with accuracy in the past. Now, I think that accuracy might improve over time, so I do worry perhaps for that side of the industry, but for right now, that we really want that clarity and that accuracy in terms of what we want. But there are other ways to kind of get some improvement in relation to tech and AI at the back end.
And I mean, to add to that, we do a lot of workplace investigations. There are tools out there that have been developed by big law firms, for example, that are AI investigations tools. And I'm sure they do have a use for straightforward review of information and ascertaining what occurred. But for what we do, I think there's no replacement for people and you're constantly assessing credibility and nuance. And I struggle to see how that can be done by AI.
And I think ultimately in our workplace investigation space, we are accountable for our findings as the investigator, and we would be, if it was challenged, in the witness box having to talk to those findings. I just don't see how you would have AI, cross-examined in
Yes,
relation to
yeah.
the findings they made, or and how that would be defensible. I can't see it. But look, there's definitely a space for them to help, and again to unlock some of those efficiencies that are there for the taking. But I still think you'll need a person for a lot of what we do.
When you talk about that uptick at Fair Work, do you find that that's a need because people are in a world of hurt with the cost of living, etc., and they're just trying to get a cash grab off an employer that's probably happy just to go, right, let's move on? Or is there also, I guess, an opportunity there where because of AI, people are going, oh, you know what, I can almost be my own lawyer. It's not going to cost me anything. I can have a crack here and I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, the Fair Work Commission has always been really employee friendly for good reason, so it can be accessed fairly easily by individuals.
Without representation.
And potentially in the current climate, there is a need for people to bring claims. I'm not really sure. There's also more happening in the current climate. There are redundancies and restructures that we're reading about every day. They do lead to claims. People can bring claims in relation to those types of things. So I think it's a bit of everything.
Yeah, I agree.
What's one thing that frustrates you day to day in the job that you do that if you had a magic wand, you could get rid of it?
Evening out our workflow. So you just, as I said before, it can be quite reactive, especially at the moment. All the work seems to hit the same weeks and then you'll be quiet the same weeks, and it would be so nice to be able to even that out. But I mean, before we started, we spoke to lots of people. The advice we got from lots of people was not to stress about those downtimes, to enjoy them because it would inevitably pick back up. But I'm still really bad at that. 3.5 years in, I still stress if I have a quiet week that, something's wrong.
And because it's your business too, you take it more personally.
Yes.
Where when you're working for somebody else, it's like, it doesn't matter. But when it's your heart and soul to it, it changes that whole mentality to work, I think, as well.
It absolutely does.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's kind of it's nice when things are quiet, when you're getting a solid paycheck that's regularly coming in. But there is a level of anxiety that is created when things are quiet. But it's something we recognise we need to get better at. And sometimes we see natural dips at times when we need it to be quiet from in school holidays and summer, etc. So we need to get better at enjoying it. We recognise that. We're working on it.
Have you had to have any moral conversations with yourself about clients that have come in, you think, I think they're actually doing the wrong thing and we don't want to align ourselves with them?
It's a good call out, and it's specifically written into our values as well. And if I'm not allowed to swear, you can edit it out. But we have a no arsehole rule, so we're not interested in dealing with people who are going to be disrespectful to us or to our staff. A lot of what our work is around appropriate workplace behaviour. So it's really important that we provide that same safe workplace for our people, and also we want to make sure our clients want to do the right thing genuinely by their people. That's a values piece for us, and we haven't had any issues with our clients that we've got. They're all excellent and all want to strive to do better. But sometimes there's just situations that arise that we just need to help them work through.
How do you relax?
I was going to say,
you got
do you have
so
time
much
to
on.
relax?
Yeah, you got the 5 boys between you, so there's plenty of running around.
Yes, I know. We relax by coming into ECLA and getting a coffee. I mean, we both enjoy exercise. So I like running, not very fast, but I like to go for a run, a bit of Pilates here and there. I don't know, reading, stuff like that, all the usual things. And you're similar, I'd say.
Yeah, and again, it sounds like we're just plugging the values here, but it's one of our values is around prioritising health, and it's right up there. And it's something we found hard to reconcile, I think, in the corporate world to make that space for exercise, but we know it's so good for us in terms of our physical and mental health. So that's what we do. I do lots of different things. Yoga I find is great to kind of quieten the mind. Get to the gym, have a swim. But we'd like to be active.
Sarah does all the open water swims and
wow.
places in them, and
Good on you.
Enjoy it. It's a bit of fun. Good endorphins, I reckon, the best going around.
What about your relationship? So you've obviously been friends, you've worked together, but now it's going to be strained at different stages. It's going to be challenging, but then do you socialise together outside of work as well, or what does it look like?
Yeah, people are fascinated by this, and I guess it's understandable. We do sometimes socialise outside of work. Our partners get on really well. Our kids get on well. Our kids coincidentally ended up on the same basketball team recently, and so we spent, every Thursday night together at training, and We do socialise, perhaps not as often as we used to, but that's not really a deliberate decision. Maybe that's just life. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say I miss Beck when she goes on holidays, but I know I've got to give her some space and not bother her with things. But we do. I find some of the challenging parts of our job, like around workplace investigation, some of the conduct can be a bit, upsetting and distressing. So we're really good at recognising that potential for vicarious trauma, and we need to debrief, and that's something we've been in the practice of doing since we've started. And same environment we want to create for our employees as well. But yes, I do when she's not around, and I want to just kind of talk about something challenging that I've had to deal with, or something that's not sitting well with me. But I do appreciate you need to have leave, and I will leave you alone.
And I think because we are at similar life stages, we have similar challenges arise with our families from time to time. And I think we're both amazing at recognising when something challenging is going on for the other one and supporting them through that. And that has been really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
As mums, what's a value that you want to pass on to your kids from a work point of view as they get older and going into the workforce? What's one value that you hope they take forward with them?
Oh, that's a goodie. I'd say resilience for me, and that's really hard to develop. I feel like I've still got some work to do on my own resilience, but to try and cultivate that in your kids. I feel there are some issues we deal with from time to time with employees that might be due to a lack of resilience. So it's something I would like to develop. But as I said, I've still got some work to do myself.
And I think I would say respect and inclusion. Respecting everyone in the workplace. Sometimes we see that not there. And just this mindset, which I think kids nowadays tend to have from what I've observed, of just inclusivity. That's really important to us and to me. So,
Well, congratulations, what you've been able to do. I know 3.5 years, it doesn't feel like 3.5 years. You've been with us for a long time as well. So congratulations on what you've built. Where do people out there find you? Where do they find Decipher Law?
Come through our website, decipherworkplacelaw.com.au, I think.
I think it's decipherlaw.com.au.
Let's edit that. Decipherlaw.com.au. You can book an appointment with us free of charge for an initial consult, or you can fill in a web form, and we will get back to you and look forward to speaking to you. And if we can't help you, we'll pass you on to someone who can.
We've got a great network. That's another thing. We're quite niche in our offering, and we appreciate that. So, but we're partnered with a lot of other great professionals out there, other small business owners and small firms, some of which we've met through ECLA, which has been great. We're very happy to have that initial call and see if we can help you. If we can't, we can redirect you. And also check out our LinkedIn page because we do regular updates in terms of what's kind of happening in the employment law space, just in short, kind of sharp, punchy bites.
Great.
Perfect. Congratulations again.
Thank
well
you,
done.
ladies.
Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Big thank you to This Is a Studio for all the work that they put together in helping us create this podcast. This has been The Sounds of ECLA. Thanks for listening.